What is up, Lover Researchers? It's Kevin, and today I want to share with you 12 books that will take your UX skills to the next level. Let's get to it. I was gonna do one of those 5 best books to get you. I honestly can't pick 5. There's so many good recommendations out there, and it depends on what you want to focus on. UX, business, psychology, leadership. I say this because in order to become a well-rounded researcher, you cannot just focus on UX design books. No way. I'm going to go through a couple of recommendations for UX, psychology, innovation, and leadership books. And by the way, I have links for all of these in the description below. Full disclosure, I do make a small commission if you choose to use one of these links, but I only recommend things that I've personally bought myself or have read myself. Let's start with the UX books. The first recommendation I have is Don't Make Me Think by Steve Krug. It's a book on web design and gives you a basic sense of how people use the web. A lot of usability focus, really fun, and has a ton of pictures. Oh, there's my card. Tons of pictures. And it's written in such a way that it's not dry. It's actually pretty funny. The second UX book is Rocket Surgery Made Easy, also by Steve Krug. Those books are like sequels? No, they're not really sequels. They're more like they go together. So whereas the first book is more about how people use it, Rocket Surgery Made Easy is more about how to test it. It's more specific to the methods. Remote usability testing, in-person usability testing. So if you're more interested in how to conduct it, that's a great book to get. The third UX book I recommend, 100 Things Every Designer Needs to Know About People. And now again, it does say things designer needs to know, but it's UX people in general, I would say. It's super easy read, and there's like one fact, per page. Number 12, and then how to design for it, how people read, font size matters. Those are the 3 UX books I'll talk about. There's so many out there. I know there's like Design of Everyday Things by Don Norman, etc. But I'm going to move on to different topics so you can become more well-rounded. Psychology books, because number 1, I have a psych background and I'm biased, but more importantly, number 2, understanding people is at the core of user experience. If you understand psychology, you're going to be 10 steps ahead of those people who just took a bootcamp course. If there's one psychology book you should read, it is Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. Daniel Kahneman is one of those names you should know about, and you'll probably end up hearing him and Amos Tversky. These are like the OGs of perception, information processing, biases, decision making, behavioral economics. If you want extra credit, look up some of the papers from the 1970s and 1980s on prospect theory, decision making, all that jazz. The second psychology book is Predictably, Irrational by Dan Ariely. This is actually recommended by a fellow badass UX leader. So thank you for recommending. I got myself a copy. Really great book on how people make decisions and how we think we're rational, but we're really not. The third psychology book is The Paradox of Choice by Barry Schwartz, which you can also find his TED Talk online. It's about people wanting more choices, but in reality, they have a really difficult time making them because there are so many choices, and we actually feel better when there are fewer choices. So that's the paradox there. Leadership and communication books. As UX people, it's really important to have these skills. Now, I can recommend these books all day, but you really have to practice it and employ it in your everyday lives. The first book I've recommended before, and I'll do it again. How to Win Friends and Influence People. I might have lent it to someone. But anyway, it's a great book, not just for UX people, but just in general. Everyone should have one on their bookshelf. It's an example of great storytelling and anecdotes, all I'm gonna say. The second leadership/communication book is Resonate by Nancy Duarte. It's a free online ebook on storytelling and how to resonate with your audience when presenting. I found it to be really helpful in my presentation skills. I've still got a lot to work on. The third book in this category that I recommend is Quiet by Susan Cain. The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. a book about introverts. I'm an introvert myself, and this book really resonated with me. If you happen to be an introvert, it's a great book to learn about yourself, and you can commiserate to know you're not alone. If you're an extrovert, I think it's still a really important book to read so that you can have the upper hand when you're communicating with many different types of people. You know how to communicate with extroverts, you can understand introverts better, so you know how to communicate with them. If you get lazy, she also has a TED Talk online. And finally, innovation books. The first one in this category that I recommend is Blue Ocean Strategy: How to Create Uncontested Market Space and Make the Competition Irrelevant. Very powerful tagline. It's about creating business with no competition, how to do it, rather than creating a business in a red ocean or a proverbial bloodbath. However, I think it does miss some things. Like, you cannot create a blue ocean anytime you want. Remember Google Glass product. Maybe it'll work, but maybe it's just 30 years too early. I don't know. So read this book with an open mind. The second book in this category is The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. It talks about the lean, agile methods to innovate your business rather than using the traditional waterfall method where you spend years building a product and releasing it. The lean method is basically talk to your customers, of course, and then iterate on your product and then make it better each time. And finally, Where Good Ideas Come From by Steven Johnson. And guess what? He also has a TED Talk online. He talks about a concept called the adjacent possible, a term introduced by Stuart Kauffman, which captures both the limits of creative potential and innovation. If you want to get creative with your creative thinking, this is a must read. Woo! So that's 12 recommendations for you. If you have any recommendations, leave them in the comments down below. And if you've read any of these books, let me know what you think about them. If you like this video, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. I make all things UX research related to help you become the most badass UX leader. Mad love. Peace!